Today I'm going to be talking about a creepy thrill ride. It is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I'm so glad I gave this a try. There's a new book by Riley Sager that I'm actually on hold for, but it's going to be a while till that book comes out, or comes to me. So I decided to give this one a try first, just to make sure I was in the zone. This is a thriller. I do love thrillers. They give me the right amount of chills sometimes, and they're just what I want to read. So decided to give this one a try because I thought that the premise sounded pretty interesting. It follows Jules, who is kind of down on her luck when the story begins. She just broke up with her boyfriend, who she lived with. He kind of comes in later. His name is Andrew. That's not important. But they just broke up. She also just lost her job. So, I mean, she is completely down on her luck. She's homeless, she's jobless, and with no money and no home, she doesn't know what to do or where to go. And that is when this opportunity comes to her to work at this exclusive residence. We'll call it that. It's called the Bartholomew, and it is, like I said, this exclusive building where the higher ups of society live. So, you know, movie stars, famous writers, that kind of people live. It's a high society home. So she takes a job there as an apartment sitter. One of the residents no longer lives there. The whole idea of apartment sitting is weird to me. But essentially she gets to live at the Bartholomew and she gets paid for it. So she thinks this is the perfect opportunity. She literally has nowhere else to go and no job. So yeah, I mean, I would consider taking a job at this building. I believe it's in Manhattan. I know it's in New York City, but I think it is right in Manhattan. So yeah, she's in like a wealthy neighborhood. She's got a nice job now. Yeah, why not take it? However, work at the Bartholomew comes with a couple of rules. One, you are not allowed to have visitors. So even her friend, her best friend Chloe, she cannot have Chloe over. Chloe cannot see where she lives. Chloe cannot be involved in the living arrangement. Chloe does know that she gets the job, and she actually is very uncomfortable about it, and I'll tell you why later. So no visitors. You cannot spend any nights away from the Bartholomew. You have to stay there overnight. So no going to a prospective partner's place. You have to stay there. Also, she can't get scared and stay at Chloe's apartment. She has to stay at the Bartholomew. And number 3, you cannot disturb the other residents. So don't bother the famous rich people that live here. You are allowed to apartment sit, but nothing else. That is your job, is to sit in the apartment. And you cannot not sit in it. Just all very interesting. So she does see a lot of different people there. One of the tenants is a famous soap opera star. I can't remember, she said that her mother used to watch her, but anyway, there's a famous soap opera star. There is actually Jules's favorite writer ever, who only, I think, wrote one book and then like disappeared. She lives at the Bartholomew, and there's just a couple of other people here and there. So there's a couple other people there, including Hot Doctor. There's a young hot doctor, Nick, and he lives there too. She meets him after having a literal run-in with her neighbor downstairs, Ingrid. Now, Ingrid is also an apartment sitter, so she is not a high-class resident. She's just like Jules, where she is sitting for this other apartment. But Ingrid bumps into her after Jules has been shopping, and Jules ends up getting cut, and so they send her to Hot Dr. Nick's apartment to get tended to. And, you know, he's Hot Doctor, so Jules is kind of pleased that she gets to spend time with the doctor. And yeah, so after she's all fixed, Jules actually begins spending a little bit of time with Ingrid, and she is kind of drawn to Ingrid. Ingrid reminds her of her sister Jane, and we find out that Jules' sister Jane disappeared years ago. She went missing, and her family did the best they could but her parents ended up giving up hope, not only on ever finding Jane, but also on life itself. So at the start of the book, like I said, Jane is alone, and part of that is because both of her parents have died. I won't get into too many details because it is part of the narrative, and so it's interesting, but they are dead, and Jules is alone. She has no one. And just the spark and the person that Ingrid is reminds Jules of her sister Jane, and it's a little bit hard for her, but it also helps her to feel this instant connection to Ingrid. And Ingrid starts telling her about some of the, I guess, hidden secrets of the Bartholomew. Now, Chloe, Jules's friend, has already warned her that some crazy stuff went down at this place. But Jules sort of brushed it off because it's just a place to live. But when Ingrid starts saying, no, I feel like there's something creepy about this building and I feel haunted by it, Jules starts to take a little bit of notice in that, yeah, maybe something is a little bit off. Now, Ingrid and Jules make plans to meet each other the next day. They were going to talk about more of this stuff. But during the night, Jules hears a scream from Ingrid's room, and she goes down to see Ingrid, and Ingrid's still there, and she tells her, no, everything's fine. There's nothing. Don't worry about it. So Jules leaves her and goes back upstairs, and the next day she is told that Ingrid has left and that she's no longer with the Bartholomew. And this sets off a chain of events because Jules is now interested in whether Ingrid did in fact leave of her own volition or if something dark happened to Ingrid. She tries to reach out to Ingrid. She does have her cell phone contact and everything, and Ingrid is not getting back to her. So she feels very worried, and she herself starts investigating things at the Bartholomew. I'll just point out some of the events that have happened in the past. We know that the owner of the Bartholomew actually committed suicide by jumping off the top of the building way back in the day, but there have been other events and deaths in and around the building. I think one was a grisly murder of a maid that used to work at the Bartholomew. So there's been like other falls, not necessarily, no, I think they did. There's been other falls that resulted in death. There's been some overdoses, but essentially it's things that could happen in any building. So Jules is torn about what to think about this building, and she does kind of confide in Nick, and I don't know. As she's investigating, there are red flags around some people and events, but Jules is dedicated to finding out what happened to Ingrid. Where is she? Is she okay? And she starts meeting and talking with other people, and not only residents of the Bartholomew, but there's other people who knew Ingrid, so she's trying to reach out to them. And it just all vamps up into this crazy, wacky thrill ride that I don't know if anyone could see the full story and how it plays out. Like, you might get definite red flags about certain people and being like, I don't know if I trust them. But I think the full overall twist about what is happening and why, I don't know if anybody could guess that completely. I'm usually very good at guessing twists, and I didn't quite get that part. So it was surprising to me, and I really enjoyed it. It was crazy. So this is definitely for lovers of thrillers, and it's great for October and spooky season because it just gives you those chills and those creepy feelings, and it was very good. It was the perfect read for right now. Yes, I still look forward to the other Riley Sager book. I am hoping it's going to be just as good as this one. I'm excited. So give this book a try if you want to get into a good thriller right now. That's it for this video. I will see you next time. Bye.